She's not doing well. She moved back to her mother's place. She regrets it, Noah. Maya, he interrupted gently. Some words don't fix what actions destroyed. The cafe fell silent again, except for the rain outside. Maya looked down. You didn't deserve what happened. He smiled faintly. Sometimes people love you the best way they know how. It just isn't always enough. That night, when Noah went home, he found something strange in his mailbox. An envelope. No name, no return address. Just his name, Noah Bennett. Inside, a single letter. The handwriting was shaky but familiar. Noah, I know you'll never forgive me. I wouldn't either. But if love ever meant anything to you, please read this once. I'm not asking you to come back. I just want you to know the truth before you erase me completely. The next page was what broke him. Daniel left me. He said I was too emotional. I guess I finally understand how it feels to be disposable. I deserve this pain, maybe even worse. I thought I was finding happiness, but I was only running from myself. I wanted to feel alive again. I didn't realize I was killing the only real love I ever had. Noah sat in silence, the letter trembling in his hands. 1,000 emotions flooded back. Love, anger, pity, nostalgia, but mostly emptiness. He folded the letter back carefully and placed it in a box, the same box where he kept the engagement ring she once slipped off without a word. Then he whispered to the empty room, I forgive you. Not for you, Clara. For me. A week later, Noah started teaching art classes at a community center. It wasn't about money, it was about starting again. There, he met Lena, a quiet photographer who loved to capture the parts of life people forget to notice. For the first time in a long time, Noah laughed again, a real laugh, not the kind that hides pain. But one evening, while packing up his things, he saw Clara standing by the door. Her eyes were tired, her hair shorter, her smile gone. Noah, she whispered, I didn't come to ask for another chance. I came to say sorry, in person. He nodded slowly. You didn't have to. I did, she said, because you were the only one who ever really saw me. He looked at her, the woman who had once been his whole world, now just a memory in a stranger's eyes. Goodbye, Clara, he said quietly. She smiled weakly. Goodbye, Noah. As she turned to leave, the rain started again outside. He watched her go, not with pain, but peace. Sometimes closure doesn't come with answers. It comes with acceptance. That night, Noah took out his sketchbook and drew one last picture. 2 figures walking in opposite directions under the same rain. Then he closed the book and whispered, The end. And finally, he meant it. Spring came slowly to Seattle that year. The rain was softer now, and so was Noah. His art classes grew popular, not because he was extraordinary, but because he taught with something rare, gentleness. He often told his students, art isn't about what you see, it's about what you feel and can't explain. And every time he said it, a small part of him healed. Lena became a close friend. She had a quiet strength, like sunlight after a storm, calm but certain. She never asked about Clara, never asked why he looked sad when it rained. She just stayed. One evening, they were sitting in the park, watching the sunset. Lena turned to him and said, You know, people always talk about love like it's a movie, loud, dramatic, but real love is quiet. It's choosing someone every day, even when life gets boring. Noah smiled. I used to think love was about passion, he said. Now I think it's about peace. They shared a silence that said more than words could. Weeks passed. Life felt normal again, almost too normal. Then one day, he received a call from a familiar voice. Maya here.
Can we talk?" He hesitated, but agreed. They met at the same cafe where she had found him months ago. Maya looked nervous this time. "It's about Clara," she began. Noah's heart skipped. "What about her?" "She's not doing well," Maya said softly. "She had a breakdown a few weeks ago. She's been in therapy. She talks about you a lot." Noah looked away. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because she asked me to," Maya replied. "She said you deserve to know she's trying to become better, not to get you back, but to make peace with what she did." For a long time, Noah said nothing. He simply stared at the rain sliding down the cafe window, thinking of all the things he could say and realizing he didn't need to say any of them. Finally, he sighed. "I'm glad she's healing. I hope she finds what she's looking for." That night, Lena noticed Noah was quiet. "Rough day?" she asked softly. He nodded slowly. "Just memories visiting again." She smiled gently. "You don't have to fight them. Just don't live in them." Noah looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, his heart didn't ache. It felt light. Maybe that's what healing really is, not forgetting, but remembering without pain. A month later, Noah got invited to an art exhibition. He wasn't sure why he said yes, but Lena insisted. "You've got to show the world what you've been hiding," she teased. When they entered the gallery, Noah's breath caught. One of the featured artists was Clara. Her paintings were raw, full of emotion and regret. One piece caught his attention, a silhouette of a man walking away under the rain, his shadow fading into light. Beneath it, the title read, "Forgive Me." Clara saw him from across the room. Their eyes met. No anger, no bitterness, just history. She smiled faintly. He nodded back. That was all. Sometimes, forgiveness doesn't need words. It just needs time. That night, as they drove home, Lena asked softly, "Are you okay?" Noah smiled, his eyes on the road. "Yeah, for the first time in a long time, I actually am." He reached over and took her hand, the city lights reflecting softly on their faces. Love doesn't always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it returns like the sunrise, slow, quiet, and new.
Months passed, and Noah's world finally felt steady. He painted every morning, taught every afternoon, and spent his evenings laughing with Lena. The scars were still there, but they no longer hurt. One evening, while cleaning his old studio, he found something behind a shelf, an old, unopened envelope with his name on it. The handwriting stopped him cold. It was Clara's. For a long time, he just stared at it. Then slowly, he tore it open. Inside, a single page. It read, "Noah, if you ever read this, it means I didn't have the courage to say sorry in person. I ruined something beautiful because I was scared of love that felt too real. I don't want you to forgive me, I just want you to remember me kindly. Clara." Noah sat there for a long time, the letter trembling in his hands. He didn't cry this time. He smiled. Later that night, he showed the letter to Lena. She read it quietly, then said, "That's closure." Noah nodded. "Yeah, I think I finally understand what it means to let go." A few weeks later, he held his first solo exhibition. His main painting, a sunrise over calm water, was titled "The Letter She Never Sent." People loved it. They said it felt honest. But only Noah knew what it truly meant, that sometimes love isn't a person you hold on to. It's a lesson you carry forward. As the night ended, Lena whispered, "So, what's next for you?" Noah smiled, eyes glimmering under the soft gallery lights. "Maybe it's time," he said, "to start writing new letters, ones that actually get sent." That evening, as they walked home under the quiet glow of streetlights, Lena slipped her hand into his. This time, he didn't hesitate. He held on, not to the past, but to the present. Sometimes peace doesn't come from forgetting. It comes from understanding that even the letters we never send still teach us how to love again. Months turned into seasons. Noah and Lena had built something gentle, something real. They cooked together, laughed together, and sometimes sat in silence without needing to speak. For the first time in years, Noah didn't feel alone. But life has a way of testing even the calmest hearts. One morning, Lena received a call from her mother. She had fallen ill back in Oregon. Without hesitation, Lena decided to go take care of her. At the train station, Noah held her hand tightly. "I'll visit when I can," he said softly. She smiled through tears. "Promise me something." "What?" "Don't stop painting, even if I'm not around." He nodded. "Only if you promise to come back." The train doors closed, and just like that, she was gone. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. At first, they called every day. But then life happened. Calls became messages. Messages became silence. One evening, Noah checked his phone and realized it had been 12 days since they last spoke. He stared at her old texts, that last "miss you," and wondered if distance was just another word for forgetting. That night, he painted until dawn, his canvas filled with waves and empty chairs. Each brushstroke felt like a heartbeat fading away. 3 weeks later, a small package arrived. It was from Lena. Inside, a framed photograph of the two of them from the exhibition. And a note. "I'm coming back soon, but if I don't, remember that you were the calm after my storm. L." Noah sat quietly for a long time, staring at her handwriting, the same kind that had once healed the ache Clara left behind. He whispered to himself, "I can't lose her too." The next morning, he packed his things and bought a train ticket to Oregon. This time, he wasn't running away from love. He was running toward it. The train to Oregon cut through misty valleys and rain-soaked fields. Noah stared out the window, his reflection a blur against the moving world. His heart thudded faster with every mile closer to her. He didn't know what he'd find, an apology, a goodbye, or silence. But he knew one thing. He couldn't live with "what if" again. When he arrived, the air was colder. He followed the address on the back of the letter to a small countryside hospital. Lena's mother was there, pale but smiling. She recognized him instantly. "You must be Noah," she said softly. "Lena told me everything about you." His throat tightened. "Where is she?" The woman's eyes shimmered. "She's been sick, too. Didn't want you to worry." Noah's world slowed. "What do you mean?" "She's in room 204. He walked down the quiet hallway, each step heavy. When he opened the door, Lena was sitting by the window, sunlight on her hair, sketching in a notebook. She looked up and froze. "Noah?" I smiled faintly. "You didn't think I'd let distance win again, did you?" Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "You shouldn't have come." "I had to. You told me once, love isn't about timing, it's about trying." Lena laughed softly, wiping her tears. "I wrote that in one of my letters to you." "And I read it 1,000 times," I said, taking her hand. "Every word." They talked for hours about art, pain, forgiveness, and everything they never said. When her energy faded, she leaned her head on his shoulder. "I thought if I disappeared, maybe you'd remember me as something beautiful," she whispered. I smiled sadly. You already are. Weeks passed. Lena's health improved slowly, and Noah stayed by her side every day. He painted her favorite sunsets outside her window, orange skies melting into blue. When she was finally strong enough to walk, they visited the beach nearby. As the tide touched their feet, she said, "Do you still keep her letters?" I nodded. "They remind me how far I've come." Lena smiled. "Then maybe it's time you write one for yourself." Months later, in their small home in Oregon, Noah sat at his desk and began to write. "Dear me, you've lost, you've loved, and somehow you've survived. Remember, not all endings are tragic. Some are just quiet beginnings in disguise." He signed it, Noah Parker. And for the first time in years, the silence around him didn't hurt anymore. It felt like peace.